The film begins with a girl named Hei who is excited about her first day at her new campus. At that time, she feels proud to be there and takes lots of pictures to capture the moment. Like other students, she writes her name on the campus stands to leave her mark. But Hei's happiness quickly turns into fear when a senior student tells her to erase her writing. The senior, a handsome guy, speaks to her in a cold way, which makes Hei feel nervous. She apologizes and says she'll erase it right away. However, when the senior goes to get his jacket from under the stands, Hei sneaks away because she's having a hard time erasing it. And the senior, annoyed, ends up erasing the writing himself. Turns out, the senior is the leader of the cheerleading team at Yonhei campus. He is known for being charismatic and always looking cool during the team's performances. Hei also has a best friend named Sunja, who is a new student like her. While exploring the campus, Hei hides when she spots her ex-boyfriend, who is studying medicine there. While hiding, a friendly and handsome medical student named Sunho greets Hei with a kind smile. The story goes back to 2 weeks earlier. At that time, Hei had a part-time job where she had to pretend to be Sunho's girlfriend to help break up his relationship with his real girlfriend. After completing the job, Hei sees her actual boyfriend, Jae-hyuk, at the nightclub, even though he had told her he wasn't going to be there. There, Jae-hyuk talks with his friends, saying that he's getting bored with his relationship with Hei because they don't see each other much. The story then returns to the present. Hei wakes up from her daydream and heads to the campus park to relax. She ends up falling asleep on a bench. Suddenly, she's woken up by the same senior who scolded her earlier that morning. His name is Jungwoo. Then, they argue because Hei is annoyed by how Jungwoo keeps showing up and acting strangely. Soon after, Sunja suggests they go to a campus performance. When they arrive at the hall, they join the rest of the audience. Hei is confused when the cheerleading team is announced as the next act, and many students leave the hall, not interested in watching them. But when the team starts their performance, Hei is shocked to see that Jungwoo is actually the captain of the cheerleading team. With exciting music and energetic moves, the team impresses the remaining audience. However, their joy doesn't last long. After the performance, they see a group of students protesting to shut down some campus clubs, including the cheerleading team, because they don't have many supporters. After the student protests, the cheerleading team gets a call from the campus dean. The dean tells them their budget will be cut because of a past issue where money for the campus festival was mishandled. Meanwhile, Hei meets Jae-hyuk and decides to break up with him. After leaving, Hei cries as she remembers their time together. Sunho, who had been watching from afar, walks up to her, offers a tissue, and quietly says goodbye. The next day, the campus holds an event to recruit new members for clubs. Shortly after, a senior invites Hei to join the cheerleading team, offering her 1,000 won as a reward. Since Sunho is interested in Hei, he also signs up for the cheerleading team. After they both show their talents, they are accepted as new members of the team. During their first meeting, Sunho asks about a rumor he heard from the senior students. The rumor says that one of the cheerleading team members will die this year. Jungwoo confirms that there is such a rumor, but says it's just a story and nothing to worry about. They then begin their physical training and later have a team meal to welcome the new members. The next day, Jungwoo announces the 2 new members who will join the festival performance. At first, Hei isn't very interested, but when she hears there's an extra cash prize from the seniors, she decides to audition and passes. As Hei is about to go home, she is surprised to see Jae-hyuk waiting for her outside the bar. He apologizes and asks for another chance to get back together, but Hei, feeling unsure, decides to turn him down. The following day, Sunho comes up with a clever idea to meet Hei. He orders a part-time service, and when Hei arrives, she's surprised to see that her client is actually Sunho. Together, they go to sign up Hei's younger sister for a tutoring program. Afterward, Sunho asks Hei out on a date, saying he's already paid for her sister's tuition. But Hei turns down his invitation because of a promise she made with her senior. According to the deal, she can't date or be involved in any scandals for 1 month while she's on the cheerleading team. However, she tells Sunho that he can wait for her until the month is over. The next day, Hei lies so she can skip cheerleading practice and work at her part-time job instead. But her lie is discovered by Min-jae, who sees her from a distance and reports it to Jung-woo. That evening, Hae gets a job to help someone take out the trash. She doesn't realize the client is Jae-hyuk, and he doesn't know it's her either. Jae-hyuk is shocked when he sees Hae is the one picking up the trash at his house. He asks his mom if he can help Hae take out the trash, but he ends up making things worse by accidentally ripping the trash bag, creating more work for Hae. There, Hae tells Jae-hyuk that they will never get back together, reminding him how he was too embarrassed to admit he knew her in front of his own mother. Once again, Hae walks away, trying to hold back her tears as she leaves Jae-hyuk behind. The next day, Jung-woo gets angry at Hae and tells her to apologize to the whole cheerleading team. He also blames her part-time job for taking away time she should have spent practicing with the team. Feeling guilty about her mistake, Hae goes to wash her face and tries to hold back her tears. Just then, Jae-hyuk shows up, upset because his pride is hurt after being rejected by Hae twice. He starts being mean, calling Hae poor and acting as if she's pretending to be better than him. At that moment, Jung-woo comes in and steps in to protect Hae, warning Jae-hyuk to stay away from her. Afterward, Jung-woo buys Hae some tissues and bread. He comforts her by sharing a story about his tough childhood, explaining how life was hard after his father left. There, Jung-woo encourages Hae, telling her that even though they might not have both parents, they can still achieve their dreams no matter how difficult life gets. This makes Hae feel more hopeful and motivated. The next morning, the team is given a challenge to run 15 laps to see who will participate in the festival. Hae almost gets passed by Min-jae at the finish line, but with determination, she pushes herself and wins the race. In the end, Hae and Sun-ho both qualify and are chosen as core members for the upcoming festival. During a cheerleading practice, a mysterious person in a Yonsei University jacket watches the team. It's clear that this stranger is focused on Hae. Shortly after, Hae gets a message on her phone, warning her to quit the cheerleading team if she doesn't want the prediction about someone's death on the team to come true. While Hae and Jung-woo are packing up their things, someone locks the door of the storage room and sets off the fire alarm. Hae panics and tries to open the door, calling for help. Suddenly, she has a panic attack and struggles to breathe. Jung-woo tries to calm her down, and at the same time, they see a shadow on the glass door, showing that someone is watching them. Later, Sun-ho and a senior member, Cho-hee, manage to break down the door and help Hae and Jung-woo. Jung-woo mentions that the locked storage room incident was exactly like what happened last year before the stage accident. The next day, Hae notices another message on her phone, but chooses to ignore it. Meanwhile, a man watches her from a distance. During the next practice session, Sun-ho struggles to hide his jealousy toward Jung-woo. Soon, some senior alumni from the cheerleading team arrive, bringing food for the juniors and wanting to meet the new team members. After meeting the new members, one of the seniors told Jung-woo that Hae reminded him of Yu-min, a former member of the cheerleading team who is now missing. This made Jung-woo start to worry, especially after the strange events during practice. He began to feel more concerned about Hae. As time passed, Jung-woo and Hae grew closer, and they stopped arguing so much. They even started to show little acts of kindness to each other. The next day, Sunja and Hae go to Hokyung University to spy on their cheerleading team. Once they get there, they sneak into the club room to find the list of songs the team will perform. Hae manages to get the list, but before they can leave, the captain of the team catches them. Shortly after, Jung-woo arrives to rescue Hae after getting a call from Ha-jin, the leader of the campus team. There, Ha-jin demands that Jung-woo give them their song list, since Hae already knows their songs. After leaving, Jung-woo is angry with Hae and tells her to quit the cheerleading team. This hurts Hae, and she leaves feeling upset. And Sun-ho, who saw what happened, follows Hae as she cries on her way home. Even though Sun-ho has always been kind to her, Hae feels overwhelmed by his feelings and decides to reject him. Although Sun-ho originally wanted to wait for her, he finally decides to give up. The next day, Jung-woo finds Hae at the library to apologize for his actions. They end up spending time together, drinking soju and chatting. Later, when Hae helps a drunk Jung-woo get home, she starts to realize that she has feelings for him. But the next day, Hae's feelings are crushed when she finds out that Jungwoo has been dating Hajin. Heartbroken, even though her love hadn't fully bloomed, Hae decides not to give Jungwoo the medicine she had planned to. While at her locker, a man approaches Hae, saying he is her classmate in one of her courses. Not suspecting anything, she gives him her phone number. The following day, the final day of practice arrives, and Hae feels proud wearing the cheerleading team's core uniform. At that time, the mysterious man who asked for her phone number shows up again, and she discovers he's part of the campus broadcasting team. Sunho also appears and helps fix Hae's uniform, which touches her heart. During practice, Hae and Sunho grow closer, but Hae only sees him as a best friend. Sunho thanks her for being his friend, though deep down, he wishes for something more. As Hae is about to leave, she sees Jae-hyuk dropping off musical instruments for the band. He apologizes again and tells her he wants to be with her. Jae-hyuk admits that he feels jealous seeing Hae and Sunho so close. Before he can say more, Sunho steps in, grabs Hae's hand, and tells Jae-hyuk to stop bothering her. Hae is surprised but also relieved, thankful that Sunho helped her deal with Jae-hyuk. While on stage, a senior suddenly hit Jungwoo. He was furious at Jungwoo for reporting him about the embezzlement in Yumin's case. Jungwoo remembered how last year, this senior spread rumors about Yumin's relationship with her boyfriend, causing her to lose focus and have an accident during a performance. In the locker room, someone tried to ruin Hae's uniform by pouring coffee on it. Luckily, Sunho quickly stopped the person. Sunho reported the incident to Jungwoo and found out that it wasn't Min-jae who told on Hae for skipping practice, cause it was a girl who disliked Hae. This girl hated Hae because Sunho liked her and didn't want Hae to be part of the festival or close to Sunho. After questioning the girl, Sunho admitted to Jungwoo that he liked Hae. Then, Jungwoo reassured him that he didn't need to worry. To support both Sunho and the cheerleading team, Jungwoo decided to hide his own feelings for Hae. As the story goes on, Hae grew nervous when she saw how good the Hokyung team was. Then, it was Yeonhye's turn to perform. At that moment, Jungwoo led the team with excitement, getting the crowd to cheer for them. The Yeonhye cheerleading team performed amazingly, and they delivered their best performance yet. The team members were moved as everyone in the stands cheered for them and their school. That night was the closing ceremony, and the Yeonhye team was performing their final show. Backstage, a mysterious person, the same one who had been watching Jungwoo and Hae earlier, seemed like they wanted to cause trouble. While enjoying the performance, Hajin noticed the stage lights looked like they were about to fall on Hae. Then, she quickly ran to warn Hae. Just as the song ended, the lights fell, but Sunho acted fast and caught Hae, keeping her safe. On the other hand, Jungwoo, who saw the accident, panicked and was reminded of a similar incident in the past. He rushed backstage to find the person responsible, but sadly, he couldn't catch them. He and Cho-hee then talked to the stage security team. The officer believed the accident wasn't on purpose and that the old equipment might have caused it. However, Jungwoo didn't seem convinced by this explanation. After the festival, the Yeonhye team and the Hokyung team gathered at a cafe owned by one of Yeonhye's seniors to celebrate. During the event, Min-jae secretly aimed to take a photo of a contract that belonged to Hae and the Yeonhye senior. When the senior wasn't paying attention, Min-jae quickly snapped a picture. The next day, the Yeonhye team went on a picnic with their seniors and alumni. Jungwoo and Hae joined them later because Jungwoo waited for Hae to finish her part-time job first. On the way to the picnic spot, Hae, feeling tired, falls asleep on Jungwoo's shoulder. This makes Jungwoo's heart race because he is starting to develop feelings for Hae. During a game where the juniors can share their complaints with the seniors, Min-jae suddenly brings up how Hae gets special treatment. He points out that even though Hae often skips practice and lies, she hasn't faced any consequences and was still allowed to join the festival. Min-jae protests against the favoritism shown by the seniors towards Hae. During this moment, the broadcasting team shows up, but the mysterious male member is not with them. Later, while Sunho and Hae are walking near the train tracks, they sense someone following them. When they check, they see someone recording a video of them from under the train. They chase after the person and discover it's the mysterious man from the broadcasting team. After he escapes, the man checks his camera and realizes he captured something strange, that not only was he following Sunho and Hei, but another mysterious figure was also following them. The mysterious man then posts an article online, asking if one of the cheerleaders will really die. It turns out he has been investigating the cheerleading team ever since the incident involving Yumin. When the other cheerleaders read the article, they see that it mentions Hei's initials, hinting that she was the target of the recent stage accident. Jungwoo then asks Hei if she's noticed anything unusual lately. Hei tells him about receiving a message from an unknown number, warning her to leave the cheerleading team. Jungwoo realizes that what's happening to Hei is similar to what happened to Yumin before. The seniors decide to tell the new members the full story about Yumin, so nothing is hidden from them anymore. At that time, Hei learns from Hajin that Yumin was Jungwoo's first and only love. This makes Hei feel even more burdened by her own feelings and the strange things happening around her. The next morning, the cheerleading team returns from their picnic. On his way home, Jungwoo is shocked to see Yumin's phone number suddenly become active. When he tries to call, he receives a message from a mysterious account, telling him to remove Hei from the cheerleading team. The following day, when Hei and Sunja enter their room, they are startled to see Yumin there, greeting them. Meanwhile, Jungwoo is facing trouble because of the article that was published earlier. Some cheerleading team members have quit, and the campus is curious about what's going on. Elsewhere, Min-jae approaches Hei and reveals that he knows about the work contract she made with the senior. Min-jae then threatens Hei, telling her to quit the cheerleading team next week. If she refuses, he will expose the contract to everyone. After meeting with Hei, Min-jae gets a notification on his phone. It turns out that Min-jae was the one who sent the message to Jungwoo, telling him to remove Hei from the cheerleading team. When the team gathers, they are surprised when Jungwoo calls for an investigation into all the strange incidents happening to the team. However, this makes the others worry that the cheerleading team might get disbanded. Soon after, Jungwoo explains that this investigation is the best thing for the team. Suddenly, the senior members of the cheerleading team come in, angry about the investigation, feeling like it will hurt them. In the middle of the discussion, Yumin shows up and offers to help with the investigation by talking to the campus. The next day, Yumin tells everyone that she wants to rejoin the cheerleading team, hoping it will prevent the team from losing more members, as Sunho plans to resign. Later that night, Hei goes to a medical student gathering to help Jae-hyuk, who is being bullied by his seniors. At that time, she pretends to be Jae-hyuk's girlfriend, making him look good in front of his seniors. Jae-hyuk is relieved and happy because Hei helped him. Hei, being her outgoing self, quickly gets to know Jae-hyuk's seniors. From a distance, Sunho watches, feeling jealous as he sees Hei with Jae-hyuk, even though Sunho also brought his new girlfriend to the party. In the morning, Sunho asks Hei about her time with Jae-hyuk the night before, but he hides his jealousy. There, Hei explains that she was just helping Jae-hyuk and nothing more. Sunho feels relieved by her answer and decides to stay on the cheerleading team. That night, Hei tears up her contract in front of the seniors and Min-jae, saying she will continue being on the cheerleading team without expecting any rewards. Meanwhile, Jungwoo misses Hei deeply, feeling hurt because she chose Sunho over him. Later, in the bathroom, Hei gets a call from her mom. Suddenly, her phone slips out of her hand, and someone takes it. When the other team members realize Hei hasn't come back, Sunja tries calling her, but the phone is turned off. Worried, Sunho and Jungwoo go looking for her. At that moment, Jungwoo finds Hei first safe and sound. Feeling worried, he hugs her tightly. From a distance, Sunho sees them and looks heartbroken. As time passes, the cheerleading team prepares for their second festival. The seniors decide that the new members should pick the song, and they ask Yumin to help. After the meeting, Yumin returns Hei's phone, saying she found it turned off the night before. Later, Yumin sees Min-jae and asks if they've met before, but Min-jae says he doesn't remember meeting her. While Hei and Jungwoo were preparing something, Hei asked him about his feelings because the night before, Jungwoo hugged her out of worry. There, Jungwoo tried to hide his feelings by saying that the hug was just something friends do. Then, As a joke, Jungwoo hugged her again, but it made Hae feel embarrassed. Suddenly, Yumin arrived, making both of them feel nervous and awkward. Yumin asked Jungwoo to come with her because she had something serious to discuss. Suddenly, Yumin confessed her feelings to Jungwoo, telling him she likes him but isn't sure if he feels the same. This left him feeling confused because his feelings had started to change. That night, Min-jae was looking at a photo of himself and Yumin on his laptop. It was clear that Min-jae idolized Yumin, but when she greeted him earlier, he pretended not to know her. Meanwhile, when Jungwoo was about to confess his feelings to Hae, he saw many photos of Hae and Sunho together on the bulletin board in the cheer room. Later, when he met Min-jae, Jungwoo realized that the number code in Min-jae's book matched the ID of the mysterious account that had been sending him messages. After this, Jungwoo decided to distance himself from Hae. He told her that he was only her captain and senior. Jungwoo did this because he wanted to protect Hae from any trouble. In the morning, just as Jungwoo is about to meet Yumin, Hae stops him and, feeling jealous, tells him not to go. She forbids him from getting close to Yumin. But a moment later, Sunho pulls Hae aside and asks her to stop chasing after Jungwoo. The next day, Jungwoo arranges to meet with Min-jae and asks him about the mysterious messages. Min-jae admits that he's behind the messages because he doesn't like Hae, but he denies knowing anything about the photos on the bulletin board. Min-jae warns Jungwoo to be careful, as it seems someone is targeting him. After talking to Min-jae, Jungwoo continues searching for more clues about the incidents. Meanwhile, the new members are busy practicing for the upcoming festival, and Min-jae starts to get along better with the others. The seniors are proud of how well the new members are progressing in practice. With only 2 days left before the festival, all members are asked to stay at a motel near campus to prepare for their final rehearsals. As Hae is packing her things, she bumps into Yumin. They chat briefly before Hae says goodbye and leaves. After Hae leaves, Yumin recalls finding Hae's phone the other day. She saw that a mysterious account had sent a threatening message to Hae. Curious, Yumin messaged the account, asking if it was the same person behind last year's incident. The account replied with just 2 words, "Come back," leaving Yumin puzzled and filled with questions. When Yumin read the message, she didn't realize that the person behind the mysterious account was nearby. That person quickly headed to Hae's room. However, when Sunho suddenly appeared, the person left right away. Sunho then asked Hae to chat with him for a while, and soon, they found themselves on stage together. On the stage, Sunho opened up about his feelings to Hae. He cried, feeling ignored by everyone, including her. There, Sunho confessed that Hae was the first girl he ever loved. Touched by his words, Hae hugged him, comforting him. From a distance, Jungwoo saw them together and felt sad. He began to think that maybe Hae was better off with Sunho than with him. The next day, the campus was buzzing as everyone prepared for the festival. Yumin met a boy from the broadcasting club and asked what he knew. He said it was possible that the person behind the incidents was a member of the cheerleading team because he saw them at the picnic. The boy also guessed that the perpetrator might be watching the festival today. After hearing this, Yumin contacted the mysterious account again and asked to meet the person that day. The perpetrator replied, asking Yumin to meet him at 4 p.m. in the observatory room. Meanwhile, the new members of the cheerleading team ran into a problem. Jungwoo announced that their performance of the new song had to be canceled because the original singer was involved in a scandal. The juniors were disappointed after practicing so hard for the festival. Suddenly, Yumin called Jungwoo to the cheerleading team room. There, she showed him her messages with the mysterious person. She told Jungwoo that the person might be one of the team members or someone in the audience at today's festival. When the clock hit 4 p.m., Yumin headed to the observatory, with Jungwoo following behind. Shortly after, a staff member from the festival handed Yumin an envelope. Inside, there was a note that said, "What can Hae do now?" Upon hearing that, Jungwoo and Yumin panicked and rushed to find Hae. It turns out Hae was in the music room, changing the song they were going to perform. When Jungwoo found her, he scolded her for leaving without telling anyone and making everyone worry. After the earlier scare was forgotten, The new members got ready to perform with their improvised music arrangement. They were now waiting for their turn to go on stage. In the audience, the members' mothers had come to support their children. As the performance began, the team gave their best in front of their friends and families. Hae's and Sunho's mothers were visibly touched, watching their kids perform. That night, the cheerleading team was preparing for their closing performance. Before it started, Jungwoo made an announcement, asking anyone involved in the mysterious messages and threats to meet him after the event. When Jungwoo returned to the waiting room, he saw a photo of himself and Hae stuck to the glass, with a note on the back telling him to go to the observatory. When Jungwoo arrived at the observatory room, he saw a man in a black jacket looking down at him. The man was Kim Ji-nil, a senior from Yonhee campus. Ji-nil had been secretly watching the cheerleading team, especially Jungwoo and Hae. He was also the one who gave the envelope to Yumin earlier, but neither of them had realized it at the time. Soon, Yumin and Hae also entered the observatory. Yumin told Jungwoo that the perpetrator had deleted their account. Later, after a night of drinking, Jungwoo was approached by another drunk person who expressed his frustrations to him. It turned out that all the team members were drunk and had followed Jungwoo all the way to his home in Busan. Since they were already there, they helped out at the market and with cooking alongside Jungwoo's mother. While eating seaweed, Hae remembered the events from the night before. She recalled seeing Jungwoo and Sunho calling out to her on the beach, and then she had a short kiss with a man, but she couldn't figure out if it was Jungwoo or Sunho. There, Hae kept trying to remember who the man was. She asked both Sunho and Jungwoo if she did anything wrong while drunk, but neither gave her a clear answer. Meanwhile, one of the senior cheerleading team members was meeting with Kim Ji-nil. The senior had noticed a notification on Ji-nil's phone about Hae during the festival and began to suspect that Ji-nil was the one causing all the trouble. Angry at being accused by Jungwoo and Yumin, the senior told Ji-nil that he would go to Yumin and reveal that Ji-nil was the perpetrator so that he wouldn't be blamed again. In Busan, the cheerleading team had a great time with the local residents. They celebrated their last night together by gathering on the beach and lighting fireworks. While everyone was having fun, Hae sat alone, and soon Jungwoo joined her. They talked casually at first, but then Jungwoo confessed that he liked Hae. Just as he finished, Sunho called Hae to come play with fireworks. When Hae saw Sunho, she suddenly remembered what happened the night before, that it was Sunho she had kissed. After returning from Busan, Yumin met with her senior, who admitted to being the one behind the mysterious messages. It turned out the senior had been blackmailed by Kim Ji-nil. He had a voice recording of her involvement in the cheerleading team's money scandal from last year, so she had no choice but to follow his orders. The next day, Hae tried to avoid both Jungwoo and Sunho after the events in Busan. But they were all assigned to a group project together, making it impossible for her to stay away from them. Hae felt confused and unsure of what to do. Sunho noticed how troubled Hae was and told her to forget about what happened between them in Busan. This made Hae feel a bit relieved. Later, they went on a casual date to Sunho's friend's studio, where they spent time together. After spending time with Sunho, Hae has her second date with Jungwoo. They visit the observatory room to watch the stars and later go for drinks. During their time together, Jungwoo asks Hae to give him a chance. The next morning, Hae has to make a decision. In the end, Hae chooses Jungwoo. She then meets with Sunho to honestly tell him how she feels. Even though Sunho is heartbroken, he respects Hae's choice and tries to accept it. Later, after meeting with Jungwoo, Hae and Jungwoo officially start dating but agree to keep their relationship a secret. The next day, Hae shares the news with her friend Sunja, who reminds her about the importance of their friendship. During this time, Ji-nil joins the team as the new planning supervisor, replacing Yumin. After the meeting, Ji-nil warns Hae that he will keep an eye on her and keeps reminding her that she chose Jungwoo over him. Elsewhere, Jungwoo is interrogating the senior who confessed, but the interrogation doesn't go well. That night, Sunho, feeling very drunk after being rejected by Hae, shows up at Hae's house. Her mother and sister are confused by Sunho's behavior, and he ends up staying overnight at their house. The next day, they head to campus together for a training camp, with Sunho's mother coming along to scold her son. Seeing Hei and Sunho together makes others wonder why they arrived at campus together. When the team arrives at the training camp, all the members are put through tough and tiring exercises. Afterward, they head back to their rooms to rest. In her room, Sunja receives a birthday message from her parents. She hints to Hei that today is a special day, but Hei doesn't realize that it's her best friend's birthday. The next day, Sunja is still upset because Hei didn't wish her a happy birthday and was too busy spending time with Jungwoo. When Hei asks Sunja to hang out with her, Sunja slips and finally expresses her disappointment, telling Hei how hurt she feels. In fact, everyone on the bus had planned a surprise for Sunja's birthday, but because Hei forgot, Sunja starts to feel distance between them. After that, the team moves on to the next training challenge, which takes place in an abandoned hospital. The members are tasked with going inside to find their 3 seniors and win the game. While Hei is walking alone in the hospital hallway, she hears someone call her name. She follows the voice into her room, and suddenly the hospital speaker starts playing spooky horror music. Upon hearing that, Hei is startled, and then the door locks from the outside, trapping her inside. Soon after, Hei called out for help, trying to reach her friends. Sunja, who was nearby, heard her voice and rushed to the room at the end of the hall. Inside, Hei was struggling to breathe because of a panic attack, and suddenly, sparks flew from a cable in the room. A moment later, the room began to catch fire. Hei used all her strength to keep calling for help. Sunja looked into the room and saw that it was Hei inside. From outside, Sunja tried to keep Hei awake by talking to her, but Hei had already passed out from lack of oxygen. Just then, Jin-il appeared with an intimidating look on his face. Sunja begged him for help. It turned out that Jin-il had committed his crimes because he had once liked Yumin. In the past, Jin-il was shy, but Yumin was always kind and warm to him, which made him develop feelings for her. However, there was a rule in the cheerleading team that members weren't allowed to date each other. Jin-il found out that Yumin had broken that rule by dating someone on the team. Feeling betrayed, Jin-il began terrorizing Yumin, believing that he had the right to punish her for breaking the rule. Jin-il's behavior worsened after Yumin's accident with the stage lights. Even though it was just an ordinary accident, Jin-il became convinced it was a punishment from above because of Yumin's actions. As the day goes by, his obsession grew, and he started to act like he had the right to punish her. Without realizing it, his love for Yumin had turned him into a dangerous person, a psychopath. At the abandoned hospital, everyone realized there was a fire, but strangely, it was Jin-il who carried Hei to the ambulance for treatment. Once they arrived at the hospital, the group waited for Hei to wake up. Sunja, who had just arrived, explained to Jungwoo that the fire was caused by a short circuit in an electrical cable. However, they were puzzled as to why the door had been locked from the outside. When Hei finally woke up, everyone felt relieved. Jin-il, watching from a distance, seemed unhappy and quietly left. The next day, Hei stayed home to rest, and Sunja visited her. At that time, they tried to fix their friendship, which had been strained recently. The following day, Hei rejoined the team's activities. By now, all the members knew about her relationship with Jungwoo. Instead of being upset, they supported Hei and Jungwoo. Later, in the practice room, only Hei and Sunho were present, laughing and showing off their arm muscles to each other. When Jungwoo saw Sunho touching Hei's arm, he felt a pang of jealousy. That night, Jungwoo and Cho-hee talked about the person behind all the strange incidents. Jungwoo mentioned that Yumin once told him the perpetrator often followed her, and she noticed the person had a small body. The next day, Jungwoo gets news that his senior was cleared of involvement in the embezzlement case. Curious, Jungwoo calls his senior to ask about the terror messages he admitted to sending earlier. The senior still claims responsibility, saying he did it just for fun. After the call, Jin-il arrives, and the two get into an argument. The senior accuses Jin-il of being a psychopath and says he's going to tell Jungwoo the truth. Jin-il panics and tries to stop him, and they end up fighting. Feeling scared and cornered, Jin-il grabs a knife from the floor and accidentally stabs the senior, leaving him helpless. Overwhelmed with guilt, Jin-il runs away, regretting his actions. However, A moment later, he convinces himself that he was innocent and only trying to punish those who broke the rules, including Hei, against whom he held a deep grudge. The next morning, Jungwoo receives a proposal to participate in a TV competition program with the Hokyung team. After discussing it with the team, Jungwoo agrees, but needs to ask permission from the other members. When he tries to find a senior, no one has seen him. Jin-il then approaches Jungwoo and tells him that the senior has gone on a long trip to clear his mind and doesn't want to meet Jungwoo anymore. On the day of the stabbing, Jin-il had secretly called an ambulance to help the senior, but took his phone and wallet. He even went to the hospital to ensure the senior wouldn't wake up. The following day, the filming of the TV show with the Yeonhee cheerleading team and the Hokyung team went smoothly. They followed all the procedures and enjoyed the experience without any problems. During the interview session, Jungwoo felt uncomfortable because the questions focused on his relationship with Hei and mentioned Ha-jin, his ex-girlfriend. However, Hei handled the questions calmly and answered them maturely. The final competition event was a relay race, where both teams gave it their all. In the end, the Yeonhee cheerleading team won. That night, Jungwoo and Hei spent time together, feeling happy and grateful for each other. They had shared many emotional moments together. The next morning, Hei sat alone in the campus stands, looking sad. She began to cry, thinking about her time with Jungwoo. Later, she went to see him and, unexpectedly, told him she wanted to end their relationship. There, Hei explained that the reason for the breakup was because she was struggling. Recently, she had received news that her mother was seriously ill. Hei was overwhelmed with worry about her mother's surgery, treatment costs, and all the daily responsibilities she had to manage alone. She feared that if she focused on her mother and work, Jungwoo would feel lonely. Because of this, Hei decided to end their relationship. She also made the choice to quit the cheerleading team, feeling that she needed to focus on working at the hospital and dealing with the difficult situation she was in. Meanwhile, Jin-il went to visit his senior in the hospital, planning to harm him again. But his plan failed when the senior's family caught him. Soon after, Jin-il ran away and headed to the airport, trying to leave without being traced. After waking up, the senior called Jungwoo and told him the truth about what happened. The next morning, Jungwoo informed the cheerleading team that Jin-il was the one behind all the terror incidents. He warned everyone to be cautious, as Jin-il was still on the run and couldn't leave Korea. Jungwoo also reminded Hei to be extra careful, as she had been one of Jin-il's main targets. That night, the cheerleading team held a dinner party at a bar owned by a senior, where Hei was now working to earn extra money. To her surprise, the members gathered to thank and encourage her. Hei was deeply moved by their kind words. They even put on a special performance just for her, and Hei, feeling emotional, joined them with tears in her eyes. After the event, her senior and boss gave her an envelope filled with money. They explained that it was a contribution from the cheerleading team and other friends to help her. The senior reassured Hei that she wasn't alone, as she was part of their team family. Jungwoo also encouraged Hei, telling her he would always be there to support her. Later, after Hei went to the supermarket, the other members gathered again at the bar. As they chatted outside, someone asked where Hei was. Min-jae then mentioned that he had seen someone suspicious following him and Sunja near the bar earlier. Worried about Hei's safety, the team quickly scattered to search for her. After shopping, Hei calls her mother, saying she'll be home soon. But suddenly, someone grabs her and it's Jin-il. Hei tries to run, and they get into a chase. Eventually, Jin-il catches up and threatens her with a knife. Scared, Hei asks why he's been doing this to her. There, Jin-il explains that he's been watching her ever since she was offered $1,000 to join the cheerleading team. He feels she broke the team's rules, and he thinks it's his job to punish her. Suddenly, Jin-il points the knife at Hei, his eyes filled with anger and revenge. Hei is terrified as Jin-il moves closer to hurt her. But just as the knife is about to touch her, Jungwoo steps in and grabs Jin-il's hand, stopping the knife with his bare hands. Jungwoo tells Hei to run, but she stays by his side, crying and trying to stop the bleeding from Jungwoo's hand. At that time, she keeps calling his name, begging him not to close his eyes. Shortly after, Jin-il tries to attack Hei again, but the rest of the cheerleading team arrives just in time. Then, Jin-il tries to escape, but Sun-ho blocks him. In the struggle, Jin-il's knife scratches Sun-ho. Then, Sunja arrives and kicks Jin-il, knocking him down so the others can capture him. After that, Jung-woo is rushed to the hospital, and luckily, his injuries aren't serious. In the morning, Jung-woo wakes up and is feeling better. Hei visits him, followed by the rest of the cheerleading team. And Sun-ho, though still heartbroken, finally accepts that Hei has chosen Jung-woo and starts to move on. A few days later, Jung-woo recovers and is allowed to go home. He joins the team in the practice room and brings Hei's favorite sandwiches to share with everyone. When Sunja sees the sandwiches, she thinks of Hei and misses her best friend. Suddenly, Hei appears at the door. She greets everyone, and when they ask what she's doing there, Hei announces that she's rejoining the cheerleading team. The whole team is thrilled and warmly welcomes her back. A few days later, they compete in another match against Hokyung at Korea's biggest soccer stadium. This is Hei and her friend's final match. 3 years later, in the fall of 2022, Hei and Jung-woo attend their senior's wedding, where they reunite with other members of the cheerleading team. The wedding becomes a cheerful reunion for all the team members from different generations. They share stories about their lives. Jung-woo now works at an observatory, while Sun-ho has become a doctor at Yonhee Hospital. Now, Sunja and Min-jae are the new captains of the cheerleading team, training the next generation. The rest of the members are also busy with their careers. At their senior's wedding, the cheerleading team members run into the fortune teller who had predicted something about their team. They joke with him, pointing out that no one from the cheerleading team died in 2019. The fortune teller then clarifies that his prediction wasn't about death, but about someone feeling lonely. The team members guess that the prediction might have been about Jin-il. After the reunion, they all decide to spend more time together. They head to the outdoor stage on their campus and order fast food. The story ends with them happily dancing to the choreography they used to perform, feeling both nostalgic and joyful. The film ends. The moral lesson from this film is if you're going to join a cheerleading team, make sure your biggest problem is bad dance moves, not a stalker with a knife.